Local, live, late-breaking. WESH 2 News starts now.
Right now, Isaias is churning off the coast of Central Florida, and communities up and down our shores have been feeling the storm's effects. This is video tonight from Indy Atlantic, one of the first areas to feel the impacts from the storm.
Our team coverage continues now at 11:30. We'll have a look at conditions in Brevard and Volusia counties in just a few moments. But first, let's get the latest update on the storm's track and intensity.
Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi joining us now. So, Tony, we just saw folks there outside kind of seeing as the storm passed by. Where is it now?
Tell you what, it's just east now of Melbourne in the Brevard County area. You take a look at this, you think it's up here, but in actuality, it's just to the south of there. The wind's still at 70 miles an hour, moving north-northwest here at about 9 miles an hour. You can see the core of the biggest storms and the heaviest rains and the strongest winds offshore now by about 30 to 40 miles. So again, we've kind of tweaked downward now the overall wind profiles along the coast and even back through the interior. By 8 a.m., due east of Palm Coast and Marineland. You can take a look at the computer models. Remember, last night they were hugging the coast. Today, they've jumped east here by about 30 miles, and that has really been a saving grace for folks along the coast here. Remember, you got all those tributaries. You saw the dunes getting ripped up with Dan Billow earlier in the evening. We do have those tropical storm warnings still in play here. So the rain will increase from time to time off the Atlantic, and as the rain increases, so do the winds. And then the worst of it's overnight tonight. We're really going to hone in on the coastal concerns here coming up at 11:48, but those conditions will finally begin to improve here as we go throughout the afternoon tomorrow. There's your bigger cluster of storms back through the interior. We had some lighter showers. They're falling apart in Marion County. A new wedge is breaking off there of the main core, so look for an uptick in the showers and some gusty winds here in the northern Brevard County over the next half hour. But the strongest winds by far and away now are on the northern side. They are trying to wrap around, but they're too far offshore to really impact the coast, and that is some very, very good news tonight to report to you about. You take a look at the overall flow to the west, winds out of the west-southwest, so this storm is going to take a turn to the north and then eventually the northeast. You take a look now at the forecast here. There's the storm pulling off to the north-northeast by late morning on into the afternoon. On the back side of it, we still are anticipating some scattered afternoon showers and even a few thunderstorms, but the core of the strongest winds offshore, the core of the heaviest rains also offshore, as everything has been adjusted to the east throughout the course of the afternoon. So coastal concerns are medium. We're going to talk more in depth about that high tide at 8 o'clock coming up here in just a couple minutes. But the tropical downpour, severe winds, and tornado threat, again, very, very low. We're in much better shape based on that track farther to the east. Again, more in the interior and that 7-day forecast all straight ahead.
Tony, thanks a lot. We've seen the winds picking up across Volusia County tonight as Isaias moves northward.
WESH 2's Kelsey Thorne picks up our team coverage in Daytona Beach. So, Kelsey, what have you been seeing in that area?
Well, it's been pretty gusty here, probably for the past 2 hours. We've seen pretty sustained winds coming off the ocean here. You can see some signs are shaking. We got the palm trees here. Nothing too crazy, but it's definitely been pretty windy here. This is about the windiest that we've really seen it since we've been out here all day. You can see the ocean out there still churning up, as Tony was saying. Earlier today, though, we were seeing a lot nicer weather. I mean, it really has not rained here in Daytona Beach since we got here this afternoon. It was sunny. There was tons of people out on the beach. The sunset was beautiful. We actually talked to a couple of people. One woman told us that she just made it back. She was worried about this storm. She thought it might have been worse. So she came all the way back from Tennessee to make sure she was home. She says she's made it here. Now she's ready to just ride out this storm.
They're always dangerous. I mean, this is our third one. So I think it's more going to be in the morning, like early morning hours. So just hope it doesn't get too much damage.
Now, you heard her there. She was saying that she's just going to kind of ride it out, and the worst of it they're expecting in the morning. Really, it's overnight tonight. It's really just this wind event, nothing else. We are expecting a little bit of rain, maybe as that storm gets closer to this area, but really by tomorrow, it should be kind of out of here. So a lot of people here in Daytona Beach were excited. They feel like they kind of dodged this storm, and they're hopeful that maybe that luck will continue into the future, but that's something we're just going to have to wait and see for. So for now, in Daytona Beach, I'm Kelsey Thorne. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kelsey. Kelsey, thank you. Brevard County felt the first effects of Isaias early this afternoon with bands of some heavy rains and some winds along the coast.
West 2's Amanda Dukes is in Cocoa Beach with more.
We've definitely had gusty winds, not a lot of heavy rain here in Cocoa Beach, but where we've seen the impact from the tropical storm is in the surf. Waves up to 9 feet Sunday afternoon and very, very rough surf. John Dasco has lived through many hurricanes, and Sunday he and his family headed to Cocoa Beach to check out tropical storm Isaias.
It's nothing. It's like a nor'easter. That's what it's like.
The Dascos were not the only ones who came to check out the surf. Kevin Randall came out to body surf the waves.
It's like a washing machine.
By Sunday afternoon, the waves were up to 9 feet, and beach safety officials had flown the red flag, warning people of the danger.
It's super dangerous.
Even today?
Even today. I was in the barrel, rolling at the bottom.
Yeah.
So, you know, I kind of know what I'm doing, but even I got caught up in some stuff today.
The fact that a tropical storm was churning offshore was most evident in the surf, but the rest of Cocoa Beach was quiet. One restaurant on A1A had partially boarded up its windows, but the usual sights of hurricane preparations were few and far between.
Not like years past. You know, we did a lot of preparations for Irma and Matthew, but for this storm, we didn't do much.
Fortunately, with this storm, a lot of preps were not needed, but are always a good idea just in case. Interesting development here tonight. Cocoa Beach police are out here on the beach looking for someone who is reportedly picking up some baby sea turtles. Some of the sea turtle nests have been upset by the surf, but you are not supposed to touch them. It is illegal. In Cocoa Beach, Amanda Dukes, West 2 News.
West 2 is bringing you the very latest updates on the track, and stay with us by downloading the West 2 app for interactive radar and up-to-the-minute information on the storm from our team of First Alert meteorologists. Preparing during a pandemic is a first for all of us.
The coronavirus pandemic has forced us to change the way we get ready for storms like Isaias.
Tonight, West 2's Michelle Meredith takes a look at how our shopping habits have become a sign of the times.
Like most stores these days, Miller's Hardware is equipped with all your disaster needs. Looking for basic hurricane supplies? They've got them. Need items for COVID-19? They've got that too. Masks, gloves, wipes. Getting ready for them both? A financial and emotional double whammy.
This is already so stressful with everything going on.
Put more anxiety on you. It's not, it's bad enough with the COVID, but then when you have that hurricane to worry about, it's like you really feel crazy.
Naturally, as we turned our attention to the storm churning off our coast, this week's hot ticket items shifted to propane gas, grills, flashlights, and batteries.
One thing is for sure, you will always need supplies for hurricanes and storms, and you'll always need supplies to protect yourself from COVID-19.
And many of us will always remember the hurricane season that had us scrambling to prepare for both.
For the most part, it has created additional stress, although one of the funny things on Facebook has been that the hurricane of 2020 is the only thing that's normal and predictable.
Predictable, because we've been dealing with hurricanes for decades and decades, but COVID-19 is new and equally as scary. In Orange County, Michelle Meredith, West 2 News.
And as we track the path of Isaias, it is important to note its impact on the coronavirus. Many state-run testing facilities are closed, including the one in Orange County. They will reopen on Wednesday. Head to WESH.com for a detailed list of testing sites in your neighborhood. Meanwhile, today the state reported an additional 62 deaths, bringing the death toll to 7,084. We also saw an additional 7,100 infections added statewide, bringing the Florida total total to just over 487,000.
Negotiations continued today as lawmakers on Capitol Hill work to hammer out a new stimulus package. The good news, both sides admit they are getting close to a deal, but they aren't there yet. They are still debating aid to states, businesses, and whether to extend the $600 a week unemployment benefit. Republicans want to include liability protection from lawsuits during the pandemic, and Democrats want to see a boost in food stamp benefits.
We're still a long ways apart, and I don't want to suggest that that a deal is imminent, because it is not.
We're not close yet, but it was a productive discussion. Now each side knows where they're at.
Another round of $1,200 stimulus checks is also expected to be in the bill. Leaders will meet again tomorrow to resume those talks. Joe Biden is expected to announce his pick for vice president this week. The only thing we know for sure so far, it will be a woman. Several big names are among those rumored to be on the vice president's shortlist, including Central Florida Congresswoman Val Demings. Today, several of them spoke out, including California Representative Karen Bass, who has emerged as a top contender. Today, she told NBC's Chuck Todd why she is prepared to be vice president.
And over the years, what I'm the most proud of is my ability to bring people together, because I think that our country needs healing. I have worked across racial lines, I've worked across political lines, and I have focused on really my goal, which is to get work done on behalf of the American people.
Senator Tammy Duckworth also spoke today. She would not comment on how heavily she may have been vetted by Biden's team, but says all of his potential VP picks are good ones.
All of the women whose names have been mentioned so far are just wonderful, and I've worked with each and every one of them, and any one of us can step up and do the job.
Biden has said that he will make his choice during the first week of August.
Voters who want to cast ballots in person for the August 18th primary can do so starting this week. Early voting begins in Orange, Osceola, and Flagler counties on Monday, and in all local counties by Saturday, August 8th. Voting equipment, including computers, tables, and voting booths, are being delivered and set up this weekend. They include COVID-19 safety equipment like plexiglass barriers and social distancing markers.
We've put in all the guidelines that we can from the CDC to make it a pleasant experience for that person who wants to get out and vote in person.
In Orange and some other local counties, early voting goes to August 16th. You also have until August 8th to request a vote-by-mail ballot to be mailed to you, but you can pick one up and fill it out at your local elections office.
West 2's commitment to you all election season is to bring you in-depth coverage of the races, candidates, and issues surrounding voting and Election Day. As part of this commitment, we are hosting mini debates with the candidates who are running for office on the August primary ballot. We're giving the men and women who want to represent you in local government, as well as Tallahassee and Washington, D.C., a chance to share where they stand on the area's critical issues. You can see these mini debates hosted by West 2 political reporter Greg Fox on the Commitment 2020 page of WESH.com. We'll also air excerpts of these debates in newscasts on WESH 2. Next on WESH 2, we're bringing you the latest on Tropical Storm Isaias.
When we return, Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi will have a county-by-county breakdown. You're watching the WESH 2 News at 11.
Take a look at this. This was the scene along the shoreline in Volusia County this evening. Beach safety officers had to rescue 2 people out of the ocean today, but rough surf kept most of the people out of the water. Probably a good thing. Right now, Isaias continues its deliberate march northward along the Florida coast.
Our First Alert weather team has been working to bring you updates around the clock on this storm. Let's check in now with Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi.
All right, guys, let's get you back up to speed here with the 11 o'clock advisory. Pressure holding steady, 995 millibars. Winds holding steady at 70 miles an hour. Movement to the northwest now at 9 miles an hour. Now, this is not the center, as a lot of folks have been thinking. The center is down to the south, and a big complex of storms has developed on the north side. Hurricane hunters just flew through there, and they did find some winds at about 74 miles an hour. Now they're investigating the south and the eastern side of that big blow-up of thunderstorms. By 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, we think this storm will be due east of Palm Coast and Marineland, and because of that, we still have tropical storm warnings up through the overnight time frame. These will likely begin to be discontinued with the 11 a.m. update come tomorrow morning, and Kellyanne will pass along that information to you. Rain falling apart here back to the west, but a new piece of energy is coming downwind from the main core of thunderstorms, so look for an uptick in rain and some gusty winds here into northern Brevard County. So there's your center of circulation. This is not an eye that's developing. Again, it's kind of a broad, weak overall discombobulated center here that kind of stretches out like that with the heaviest storms on the northeast side and the stronger winds also on the northeast side. But we have had a couple of wind speeds here now close to 50 miles an hour just offshore Brevard County. Big trough of low pressure here is going to swoop on in late tonight and tomorrow and begin to lift this one back to the north and the northeast as we go through your Monday afternoon. So large, broad circulation right there. Again, as some pieces of energy break away, we get those squally winds and those brief heavy downpours, and that's what we've been focusing in on because of the position has been just a little bit more to the east. Rainfall amounts and the overall wind profiles are stronger offshore, and we've had to make some adjustments to that. So you can see there's a Monday afternoon, storm systems pulling away, and even though it's pulling away, there's some moisture that's going to be wrapping around it, so we'll still have the chance for a few heavier downpours and gusty winds with squalls during the course of the afternoon. So the biggest concern is the coast. Elsewhere, we're going to be okay. Look at the wave action here. Near shore breakers, 7 to 10 feet. Offshore waves here running 15 to 20 feet. Now, the potential storm surge is decreasing into Brevard County with each passing hour and increasing through Daytona Beach, Volusia County, and Flagler County. Looking at about 2-3 foot storm inundation at max. I don't think we're going to see 4 with the storm a little bit further to the east and not being a hurricane. High tides now, 8:36 for Flagler Beach, 8:21 Daytona Beach, and 8:09 for Cocoa Beach. So that's going to have impacts to the inlets, the bays, and the low-lying shore areas. Could have some coastal flooding there. Beach erosion around 8 to 8:30, 8:15. Looking at some moderate dune and beach erosion. We've already seen that in Brevard County and Dan Billow's live shot. So we'll watch those marinas and those docks. Could be some minor damage at times of high tide between 8 and 8:30. We'll be watching that again very carefully. All right, more county by counties here for you. Seminole, Orange, and Osceola counties between now and about 8 o'clock in the morning. Winds will be in that 15 to 25 mile an hour range. And if we get one of those squalls that come on in, maybe approaching 30 to 35 miles an hour. Then we head to the west into Marion, Sumter, and Lake counties. Winds here 10 to 20 miles an hour with gusts potentially as high as 30 if a piece of some of the squalls is able to make it this far west. Rainfall amounts here expected to be less than an inch of rain. So we'll watch the morning along I-95 in Flagler and Volusia County. By the afternoon, some afternoon showers and storms. It is going to be hot. We're going to be in the low 90s south and west, upper 80s the north and east, and then back to that August pattern as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Afternoon high temperatures, low 90s. Overnight low temperatures will be running in the mid 70s. Kendra?
Hey, Tony, the Rays and Orioles hit the diamond itching to break their losing streak. Highlights coming up in sports. Plus, the Jaguars released the names of players added to the COVID list. Find out who after the break.
Now, West 2 Sports, sponsored by Mullinax Ford.
The Jaguars are looking at quarterback Gardner Minshew to take them far this season, but that will have to wait a little. The Jags placed Minshew and 4 other players on the COVID-19 list today. Players are put on the list if they have either tested positive for COVID or must quarantine after coming in close contact with someone infected. Earlier, the Jags announced that they have activated 2 players from their team's COVID-19 list. All right, and the Rays looking to avoid the sweep in Baltimore this afternoon. Top 6, Brandon Lau. He gets a hold of this pitch and takes it to deep center. That clears the fence to tie things up at 1, but from there it was all Baltimore. The Orioles would then go on to score 4 unanswered runs as the Rays get swept on the road 5-1 the final. They'll be back at home on Tuesday hosting the Red Sox. A group of Pac-12 football players are threatening to opt out of the season unless major changes take place in college sports. Players are voicing their concerns about competing during the pandemic, as well as concerns about racial and economic issues in college sports. Using the hashtag #WeAreUnited, some athletes released a statement saying they will not play until there is real change that is acceptable to them. And some of their requests involve COVID-19 safety, but it goes much further, including forming a civic engagement task force to address racial issues in sports and in society, 6-year athletic scholarships, and the ability to earn money from their likeness. Now, players also list using university endowment funds to save sports that are being cut. Jim, Mayor?
Kendra, thank you.
So close once again here in Central Florida, a tropical storm, something from the tropics getting right up to the coast of Central Florida and then starting to leave. Let's get over to Chief Meteorologist Tony Bonalfi for our last look at the storm.
Hey, big wake-up call here, though, Jim. You know, it's very early August, had 10 named storms, and this one just enough offshore that the core of the strongest winds are going to stay offshore as well. Notice the winds here, 70 miles an hour. Again, that's a pretty good storm, but it's just offshore enough that the core of the strongest winds are going to stay offshore. By 8 o'clock in the morning, notice where the storm is now, due east of Marine Land, due east of Flagler Beach. There's the core of the strongest winds, well enough away that we're not expecting any hurricane force winds overnight tonight in gusts, but along the coast here, as you can see in the green, we do have some winds now approaching about 50 to 53 miles an hour just offshore. So as we take a look again at the time frame here, overnight tonight through about 10 o'clock in the morning up to the north, we are still anticipating winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour, gusts 35 to 45 as squalls do come in off of the Atlantic waters. Again, could be a quick 1 to 2 inches of rain, but for the majority of us, we will not be dealing with that amount of significant rainfall. Let's go and take a look now at your updated 7-day forecast here. Notice Monday morning, we're still dealing with some impacts from Isaias, especially up to the north. Tuesday, we get back to normal here. Rainfall chances running at about 50%. Afternoon high temperatures will be running in the low 90s, and that's where we are going to stay now throughout the course of the rest of the work week. Typical for the first week of August, highs in the 90s, lows in the 70s, rain chances with those sea breezes 50 to 70%. Guys, over to you.
Oh, looks like Tony's used up all of his 9s and all of his 1s. We will continue to track the threat of Hurricane Isaias overnight and break into programming if we need to. The West 2 Sunrise crew will resume live coverage a half an hour early, starting at 4 a.m.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night.